Oh, awesome. I look forward to hearing more about it.
T-shirts, hoodies, customized shirts.
Hello, this is Heidi Bogus, and you're listening to The Voice 17104, Harrisburg's first and only faith-based, community-driven internet radio station. Your choice. The Voice 17104.
And again, we're touching lives through the power of worldwide streaming multimedia. Time right now here at the Voice 17104 is about 5 after 4 o'clock. It's time once again for the New Beginnings broadcast, again brought to you by Dr. Nathaniel Gadsden, a program designated to your spiritual, mental, and physical growth. So without further ado, here's our host for the afternoon, Dr. Nathaniel Gadsden.
Well, thank you, Brother Chris, and welcome to the show, New Beginnings. I'm so glad to have you as a viewer always. And today we have a dynamic young man, Keontae. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Young man, Brother Keontae, and he's done a lot of great things, him and his wife both. And so just wanted to bring him on to talk about some of those things. Brother, man, your wife is Lisa Lickers,
yes.
And she has her own organization, and you have a whole bunch of stuff kicking and going on through the head of yours, man. This is good stuff. Brother Keontae, introduce yourself to the audience, and then we'll talk about some of the projects.
Okay, well, my name is Keontae Ricks. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I currently live in Harrisburg. I have an organization called Missing Links, which is basically a universal concept. We teach everything from financial literacy to empowerment to intercellular cleansing. I have a positive record label that I'm doing with the children. I'm a paralegal, a legal consultant as well. I'm a part of a few innocent projects that go against police prosecuting and judicial misconduct. And I just recently invested in a t-shirt business, so I do customized shirts now as well. So.
Okay. Yes, indeed. So you got cooking, man. And one of the things that I know you've been, pushing for is to get more of the churches to work more in a cooperative manner, doing some things together. Talk about that. Just, how do you see that?
Well, I mean, I realized that it's too much division. And I realized that if we all serve God, then the only thing that's necessary is that we do what God wants us to do, and that's to help the less fortunate. And I believe the saying, to whom much is given, much is expected from. I don't think that's just financially. I understand that mental riches supersede material wealth, and I feel that for those that do have it, it's our job to come together and start helping the community.
Right on, right on. And I agree with you 100%. We have to do it. There's, a lot of goodwill out there, and there are some great things going on. We don't want to make it sound like there's nothing happening, but the need for greater cooperation and for more persons to step out of their comfort zone and to do what is necessary to serve God. We got to get on the stick. Let's just be honest about it. We can't hide behind the pulpit and the cross and all of that and say we're doing something. As long as we just reading the scripture and praising, no, we can't do that. We got to do more than that. So, let's just get serious about it. But let's talk about, your t-shirt business first to start off, because that really is, that's an undertaking, man. A lot of people have this dream of going into business, but you don't just jump up and go into business, right? So talk about how did you get started and some of the pitfalls and the things that you're trying to do.
Well, actually, my wife's organization was already established.
Okay.
And we were buying the shirts from other individuals. And the prices was extremely high, and then other people wasn't trying to sell us shirts. So I'm the kind of person like, why depend on other people when you can do it yourself? So basically I said, well, let's just buy the equipment.
Okay.
So we had the equipment in the house. She was making her shirts and stuff. And then recently I've been in the Bible and just meditating and studying, the word. And I understood that what I learned recently was that be fruitful and multiply wasn't just speaking in reference to kids.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was basically talking about like financial investments and different things producing as well. So I was like, well, what did I have in my life that I basically wasn't focusing on? Because I'm here and there and doing all of this stuff, sometimes going well, but you still have other things that you can do. So it's amazing how God works so fast. So I spoke to one of the little brothers, young brothers, and I said, well, I got a t-shirt machine down here and I haven't been doing nothing with it, You want to make some money doing it? He was like, yeah, we definitely can do that. Okay. So then the next day, he contacts me and says, oh, I went to the store and the store is going out of business. And I said, okay, well, let's go there. And then I just invested. I invested and just bought all of the stuff and said, come on. Now we can do positive logos. We can sell them to the churches. We can, positive words mean a lot. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah.
So that's the beginning of it.
And so you're in the process of really getting it off the ground.
Yes.
Started.
Yes.
And so, what have you discovered about business itself in terms of getting it from the idea to now you get to have production taking place, and then after production, of course, is now getting it out to the market and selling and all that.
Well, I've just learned that, you have to understand supply and demand. Of course, you have to learn how to advertise, and you have to learn how to communicate with people.
That's right.
And like with me, I'm like this. I'm not greedy, and I'm for the people. And it's easier to sell products when you can say, okay, well, you can make some money off this product as well. And not try to grill them, and you help me make some sales. You can take this amount off each sale, and now everyone wants to work with helping you distribute whatever product.
Yeah. You said what they call co-ops. I'm sure they still have them now. Where one hand washes the other, they help one another, brings the prices down and all that kind of stuff. So that's what you gotta have in mind.
Exactly.
Okay, good enough. So one of the things that we're facing also in our community is a lot of returning citizens, people who are going down. They have a long stretch or even a short stretch, and but they have to come back out, and now they have that stigma attached to them and all that kind of stuff, and they want to get it done. And I know you do a lot of work in that area, trying to help brothers and sisters who find themselves. So speak about that for a little bit.
Well, I recently went to an event, and they were speaking about the children, and talking about the problems and the crime and the dropouts in school, and a lot of things in reference to that. Yeah. And what I was saying was that basically we have to create some kind of programs to finance, to provide these kids with some money, basically. Yeah. I mean, in so many words, because it's like, how can a kid focus on school, or anyone? Even the ex-offenders, how can they focus on what they need to focus on if their current situation is not correct? And a lot of times, whether individuals want to admit it or not, when a person has that felony, they're not willing to hire them. And they got the same wants and needs that the average individual has. Sure. And this is going to be a problem inside of society if this situation is not corrected. So.
And it's crazy. I remember a representative here in the area, we're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Patty Kemp. She convened, along with many others, a forum on expungement, I guess. Because a person can have a record. They may have had a retail theft or something when they were 18, and now they're 52 and trying to get a job and that retail theft keeps popping up. It's like, wait a minute, come on, I haven't committed another crime since I was, 32 years ago or something. But it still follows them. So they're trying to get rid of that because the whole system has just been a monster in terms of what it does to our people. So we just have to figure out a way to get these employers to understand that you got to give a person a second chance. Because if you don't, their consequences will be paid, right? I mean, the person's gonna be desperate enough; they're gonna go back to old ways or something. So we gotta, And why do we always want to stigmatize somebody? I mean, once we know something about them, we just keep that stamp on them. Boom. And what's that going to do?
I think that's just society. Society teaches you how to forget all of the good stuff and remember one bad thing. Like when you look at media, the TV, how they basically glorify the negative things. And rarely glorify the positive things for people. And then everybody else follows the routine.
That's right. Yeah, I would love to see the newspapers really talk about the stuff that's happening in our community 99% of the time, and then that other little bit, okay, we throw a little bit of that in there. But it's the opposite, isn't it? Because the news sells. I mean, that stuff sells, man. We gotta judge this stuff up. But ultimately, it's not doing any good. And then let's forget about Hollywood. Hollywood plays upon all that stuff. I love movies as much as or more than anybody. But man, you have got to know that stuff can be really toxic in your spirit. That's probably a good thing. Don't even get into it. Shoot. Yeah, but anyhow, so you have a lot of, like I said, frontiers out there. And one of the things that you're trying to do also is, we talked about the church and not the church. So let's talk about that a little bit more, other than just, we know that they can do more. So what's the do more? What else can we do to really bring us to closer together?
Well, I think it starts with somebody basically taking that initiative to go and communicate, and then we all meet.
Okay.
And I believe that, everyone has different fields that they perfected, different gifts and talents. And once we all come together, then we can decide, what's the best way for us to take it from there.
And there's been, I've said in I don't know how many, meetings or coalitions, whatever, where we actually tried that. And it's not that they didn't work, but they go for a minute and then it's kind of fades out. The one group that has been very consistent that I have not been active with lately has been the IMC, the Interdenominational Ministers Conference. And people always say, oh, they don't do anything. Well, yeah, they do. They do a lot. And in fact, there's hardly any election that comes up where people don't come through there. They come in and they try to get the blessings of the IMC. They have people that will come and say, look, we had this major issue, whatever. They never publicize or advertise it, but they collectively will give money, will assist in any way that they can. And folks don't know that that's happening, but it happens, once a month, there's somebody going to the IMC saying we need. And the IMC, which is about 45 to 50 or maybe more churches, those pastors are sitting right there, and guess what? Some of them crack open those books, those checks and everything, and they give. And then some people just step up on their own. There's a brother who wanted to do something, and he stepped out on his own. His congregation was against it. I'll just say it that way. And they sort of left him in the lurch because it's like, we told you not to do this. But he wanted to build a parking lot. He wanted to, change this land into a parking lot so they could accommodate the church better. And one pastor heard about his plight, stepped up $10,000 later. Didn't even blink, just gave it to him. Just say, hey man, God led me to help you, and I don't know why, but here it is. That stuff happens. There's no publicity about it. It just is, right? So that's that does happen. We need more of that, folks. We need more of that. And it doesn't have to just come from the top down either, by the way. It can come from anywhere. Yeah, the congregation just step up and just say it's going to happen, right? Yeah. You are the church.
Yes.
You are the church. Your wife has a wonderful program, the Young Women's Empowerment
Academy.
Talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, she do a lot of stuff with the young women. She actually just launched another chapter in Buffalo.
And you're from Buffalo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We're both from Buffalo.
Yeah.
So yeah, she do a lot of stuff. From financial literacy to everything that the young women need. They're providing, and I think the most important part about it is that they're building a sisterhood. You know what I'm saying? Where they can have people that's focused, equally focused, and can rely on each other, and different things of that nature.
Good stuff. Now, one of the things that I know about you is that you're a worker. You get out there and you hustle. You're doing stuff all the time, man. And you stay in shape. I'm looking at you, brother, sitting here, all puffed up. So you have a particular, I won't call it a diet, but a lifestyle that you adopted.
Yes.
And it doesn't include me. Talk about what you do to keep yourself cleansed.
Well, I always tell individuals that knowledge influences perception. And when I was studying the Bible, I realized that it was like, don't quote me on the number, but I think it was like 110 verses that said that the herb and the fruit-bearing seed was here for the healing of the nation. So I like to research everything that I learned, of course. So I started, researching the medicinal qualities of each of the fruits, vegetables, and herbs. And what I discovered was that each of those things are actually medicines. I'm talking about that heal cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and all these things that our people are suffering with. And then, also, I realized that a lot of things that we do are programmed routines. We didn't research a lot of things that we did. We just took it on from our parents and just chose to make it a part of our belief system without researching it. So when I started doing that, I'm like, wow, this is what I need to do. So I turned vegan. But I do believe that some progress, something's better than none. So it's not something that you should rush in, but I believe that slow steps. You know what I'm saying? X out one thing, like I X'd out beef and pork, then it was chicken and turkey, and then and another thing I do want to say is this: a lot of individuals don't understand that a vegetarian doesn't necessarily eat healthy. They just eat healthier than the individual that's actually eating meat because they're not putting no death into their body.
Right.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
you think meat is death?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Because the reason why is because of this. A dead cow can't give life to a living cow. Okay, we are electrical beings. How do we know that we're electrical? When individuals die in the hospital and they're trying to resuscitate them, what do? They shock them to put electricity back into their bodies. Okay, the things that are electrical are what the Chinese people consider CHO, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That's what's inside of it. Now, if you study the life of plants, plants are actually alive. They need water like we need it. They need light and different things of that nature. You understand? So think of yourself as being a battery. To charge that battery, you're going to have to connect it to some kind of electricity.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing with us. Once you eat those electrical foods, it cleanses your blood, it removes certain sicknesses that's in your system, it amplifies the cells in your body that allows your body to be strong enough to do all of those things. So
And electrical foods would be, give us some example. What
plant-based things that God naturally put on earth for us.
Okay.
You know, not stuff that man made in a lab, but things that the earth naturally produces.
Okay. You call those electrical foods. And you do speak a lot about putting dead things into your body, so animals and
yeah, because when things die, it's natural microbes and bacteria that's in the air that goes to these things to break them down and put them back into the universe. Now, when you put death into your body, the laws of the universe tells you that no life can come from death. So if you put death into your body, you give death to your body. Okay. And this is another thing that I recently researched that was pretty interesting. Think of the human body, the digestive system, as being a blender. Okay. Now, when you put a blender that's for fruits and vegetables, just say that. You put the fruits and vegetables in a blender, it takes all the nutrients, break it down, and kick it out. But if you put meat in a blender that's not for the meat, what happens? The blender, it is still break it down, but the meat will sit in the system longer. The meat sits inside of your system longer.
That's right.
The blender has to work overtime now and it can't rest. If it works overtime, it ages faster. If it ages faster, you're going to die faster. You know, so
this is deep. Okay. So, because a lot of people say, well, but you know, we're supposed to eat animals. Aren't we supposed to? Weren't animals? What does it say in the Bible? Something about, Brother Chris, help us out here about animals, and we're supposed to. Animals are there for our consumption and whatever. I don't know. Does it say that?
But I'm not sure if I ever ran across that passage in the Word. I mean, I did hear the one about the plant and the seed-bearing plants.
Right.
But I'm not sure about the meat.
Well,
I know about the pork not being good shellfish.
Right. But the one scripture that talks about the
meats for the body and the body for meats.
Well, that's not what it's referring to, but okay, that may be a part. But it was something about a man who, I'm gonna get it because I'm a blow it. I don't want to say it on it. But it's something about a man who, you know, forsakes the meat, whatever, and you know,
he does it unto God,
and almost criticizes the person who's vegetarian
sure. To do it unto God.
Yeah,
not
something
to kind of make anyone else confined to what your conviction is.
Right.
Yeah. And I can agree with that. You know, like I don't try to inflict a diet upon anyone or look at them different. I just say, listen, this is for the healing of the nation. So if you do get sick, then you know which way to go.
That's right. Because everyone's telling us the same thing. The scientists, everyone's saying more of a plant-based diet is going to make you healthier. And so, but somehow we got stuck on this meat thing, you know, and what's the origins of it? Where'd it come from? Did we just like it and that's why?
I think it's our routine though. I mean, the majority of the things that we're comfortable with doing, we never researched it. But one thing that can't be debated is all of our people are sick. Everybody's on medication. You know what I'm saying? All these different diseases that's coming that you've never heard of, like they're there. So it gotta be, so evidently we're doing something wrong because if we're God's greatest creation, why do the animals not get sick?
Eventually they do, don't they?
Yeah, if they mess with men and stuff that men created to make them sick. But I'm talking about the natural animals. I'm talking about the lions and the animals that's in the jungle and stuff like that. You know?
Well, let me just say this. I'll never forget first year in college. It was freshman down in Westchester State. And we're sitting in the cafeteria and they put this video on without any commentary. And even the movie had no commentary. All you saw was a cow grazing cows. And then it showed the cows being taken to slaughter, and showed the cows being slaughtered, and it takes it all the way to your plate, right? And the name of the movie is Meat. It was a classic back in like 1969, 70, whatever, and it has no commentary. All you hear is a moo, and you hear the people taking them in, you hear the shooting, stun them or whatever, and it shows them gutting the thing, the whole bit. And the question is, if you had to do that, would you eat the meat?
They had to do what they did.
Man, that was heavy. Like, look at this. And again, no commentary. A whole bunch of folks are like, what is this? You know. But anyhow, it's back to, now you studied, you always mentioned the gentleman's name.
Dr.
Stevie. Talk a bit about him and how he influenced you.
Well, he influenced me because I study law. When I study law, I'm a paralegal and a legal consultant. And I realized that a majority of the doctors that claim that they cured some kind of disease, they all got locked up.
Okay.
and they did not win their case.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he ain't claimed he cured one disease. He claimed he cured all the diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And he got locked up too, but he won his case.
Mm-hmm.
He won his case.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
With the reports to basically show that he did cure AIDS, cancer, hepatitis, herpes, diabetes, and all the other diseases right through the herb and the fruit-bearing seed.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was pretty interesting to me, and that's what made me start following him, And then I looked at a lot of other videos like What the Health. And it's crazy because the American doctors are saying the same thing that he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, listen, we're honest. The people are sick because of this diet right here. They're not supposed to be eating this stuff. So and then it's another one. I think it's Forks Over Knives. It's a lot.
Yeah, Forks Over Knives. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
There's a number of videos or documentaries, or whatever you call them, on what is it called? Netflix. Yeah, a number of them on Netflix. So if you want to catch some of this stuff, so it's interesting. But anyhow, and so you also exercise quite a bit, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Staying healthy, man, that's the way to do it. Okay.
I said, why wait till I get sick?
That's out there. Why wait? Why wait? And do while you're young. Yeah, just keep moving. Oh man, great stuff. So ultimately, what is you have a couple different business ventures going. What's the main thing that you're working on right now?
Well, actually, the T-shirts and the medical transportation that I just invested.
Medical transportation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we're seeing how that's going at the beginning, because if everything is right with it, then I'm actually going to start my own business instead of putting cars under someone else's business.
Okay.
So that's another thing.
So when you say medical transportation, break it down for us, would you?
The individuals. Well, basically, what you do is you purchase a car and you put it under a company, and then people drive it for Medicaid and different things of that nature. Okay. Like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is a wonderful sister who, boy, I'm gonna have to call her name now. I got my phone here, but anyhow, good African sister who started her own transportation business, and she's been doing well. She just got an office right down from where our office is. She's doing great work. I'll think of her name in a minute, but anyhow, but we're talking to Keontae, and he is not only a excellent businessman and a community activist, he's also a poet. We didn't mention that. He has some excellent poetry, man, And I don't know if you have anything right off the top of the head that you could, spout for us, but think about that for a minute, because Keontae has been coming to the Writers' Workshop and really lifting up our spirits by, dividing the word the way he does so well. And I call it spoken word, of course,
Yes.
Yeah, and personal suit, and you can rap, I can tell, because of the cadence that you use in your poetry. But great imagery too, man. Great imagery, great messages. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Do you have anything?
Yes, I do have something.
Okay.
I said, life is heavy. I've carried more weight than a gem. You see, Pops left at birth, and like Apple's mom came with a stem. Obstacle oceans, I swim, and they called him a thug. Addicted before birth, and those babies have not did a drug. Foster homes keep changing, rearranging their views. Uneducated decisions our children are destined to lose. They've been confused and abused, and stress is destroying their mind. Rolex in the garbage, it means they wasted their time. Consequences are fatal, and still they'll pay what they cost. Never was properly guided, and don't even know that they're lost. Like Jesus, they've been crossed, scars exist in their heart. Never had it together, and still they're falling apart. Because they're broken.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. You got some long pieces too. I heard you roll for a minute. I was like, is he over? What? But good stuff, man. Yeah. So what made you start writing poetry, and how long have you been into it?
Well, I've been writing my whole life.
Okay.
I've been through a lot of stuff, and that was the way that I was able to counsel myself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you don't have no one to talk to.
Yeah.
Mom's not there, or pop's gone, or you're your own, so you got to learn how to counsel yourself.
How to do it, yeah.
So everything that I've ever went through, I've documented.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that happens is that people get caught up in the system, and they don't often know how to get out. And sometimes it's almost nothing. I'm talking to one guy that, what do you call it? He was in a work release center, and we talking. I said, "Well, how much?" He needed like $500. And that was it. But he had no, connection out there, nobody to help him. And then he was just one of many It can be less than 500.
Yes.
You know, but they get so caught up and they're in there for days, for months, you know, the whole 9 yards. And they don't know. And then it follows them even after they get out, they're on probation or whatever. And, you know, man, it's a merry-go-round. So how do you help families when you run into families who are dealing with this kind of thing with a loved one? How do you help them negotiate the system and keep it straight?
Well, I mean, right now, I feel that what's necessary is that we just create more programs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can help people personally, which I do a lot,
Okay,
just out of my own money, help people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe God only blessed us for us to bless other people.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And I believe that whoever do the right things with their blessings, they'll continue to get blessed. If you do the wrong things, you don't live with regrets.
That's right.
So, but I think that because we do have that knowledge and a lot of us do have those resources, when we do come together, that's why it's necessary for the pastors and the preachers and the bishops to come together, because each person has different resources. And I look at that as a different piece to the puzzle. And no one piece is greater than the next, because every piece is needed to paint a perfect picture.
Right.
But we all have to come together to see, So that's what it is.
One of the things I would like to encourage, though, we always concentrate on the pastors and the bishops and everybody like that. But truthfully, if the congregations came together.
No, it's definitely about the congregation too. But the only reason why I use that, the only reason why I said that, is because I look at them as the leaders. A lot of people inside of the churches, they follow the pastors and the preachers. So when I'm looking at the leaders, I'm saying, okay, well, the other people are supposed to be followers. Yeah. We all follow the Christ, but I'm saying other people are followers. These are the leaders right here. So even if they just mention it, for those that will want to participate, then they do. If they don't, then But
I will tell you, even back when we did the Million Man March, there were a few pastors who right here in Harrisburg even who told their congregants not to go. They said no. I want you to go there, talked it down the whole bit. But thank God, people had their own minds and spirits, and they showed up. Look how beautiful that turned out. Not one arrest. 1 million people there did not one arrest. All positive. In terms of what we were trying to do. And nothing's perfect, of course. They come, well, what happened as a result of that? A lot of things happen, as a result of that. But truth of the matter is, we still have problems. I mean, everything that just gets solved just because we had a march in D.C. But when the people stand up to speak, and sometimes the pastor, I'm a pastor myself, but we're not perfect, right?
Okay,
and then we don't, always know if we're leading people down the right path and stuff. But when the people come together and there's more hands, it's power.
Yeah, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not pointing the finger at no.
Oh no, I know
you're not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that they can at least mention it to the congregation, and then whomever want to be a part of it, they can be a part of it. Yeah. Because in reality, they don't control the people.
No,
that's a great sacrifice for them, even to want to come and feed people spiritually.
Yeah, no question. Yeah. But I'm telling you, it's the power of the numbers, and sometimes we what is it called, the purpose-driven church. And Rick Warren, when he wrote that book, he talks about that, how sometimes people get so fixated on the minister, it really lifts him up way too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we supposed to be talking about Jesus. You talking about Nate, and Nate ain't got come on now. But we have to do more. And the other thing I found out, Brother Chris, I'm sure you relate to this as well. A lot of times, the persons who are getting it done.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And the persons who are setting up under the unction of the leadership.
Of course.
They're the ones, are going to make that happen, or serve in that committee, or, carry the word out, or inspire the people. You would think it's always the quarterback, right? Yeah. Sometimes the quarterback ain't the leader of the team.
No INT. Sure.
Yeah. And so we just got to look at that. So, and the reason why I said also is because we don't ever want to let the people off the hook. We want them to know that everybody's responsible. Sure. Everybody's responsible, That's the one thing that people tend to miss, I think, in the civil rights movement. I read a piece just the other day about a woman who I'd never heard of. I said to myself, And this person was really, going on about how much she meant to Black history. And it turns out that when they walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and the leader of that was not Martin Luther King. A lot of people think Martin Luther King wasn't even in the march. Wow. Isn't that something? He came in the second march when, after, the National Guard, everybody stepped in and said, this march will take place. That's when Dr. King came. But the person who led the march was John Lewis, a young man. And Jose Williams, I think, was standing right in front, those two. There was a tall woman who was standing behind them, and she got knocked down. And I remember they was trying to pick her up, and she was like limp and everything. That woman was lifted up in this article as being a tremendous civil rights leader who most people never heard of in that area, But I said, wait a minute. And they described, now she's 100, like 100 years old or something like that. She's up there. Still beautiful and everything, I'm telling you. But they were memorializing this person. I said, how many people are like her who did so much that we'll never read about them in history books?
Lots.
You know, lots, yeah. Who carried the banner, who didn't ask for, publicity. They just did it,
Lots.
Yeah. So we just got to keep it moving. Anyhow, man, so glad that you took time to come on the show because I know that you're on fire. I was talking with, what's his name, Brother Lamont?
Yeah,
His last name,
Lamont.
what's the last name? Is it you? I think it's you. Yeah, Brother Pastor Lamont. And I think it's you. But anyhow, he and I both were saying, boy, this guy's on fire. He's doing it. But that's what it takes, though. You have to have that passion, man.
Sure.
It's sad when you meet people and you realize that they've lost the passion.
Oh,
So whatever you do, don't lose it, man.
Well, I ain't gonna lose it. You know what? I was just telling the brother right here. I said, I have to be around people like you, Pastor Lamont, and him. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I understand is that experience is priceless.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And we have to humble ourselves and come around people who actually can teach us and show us the way.
That's right.
A lot of men don't want to say, oh, well, I gotta submit. You know what I'm saying? To learn. But if you perfected a field that I'm interested in, then I need to submit.
Sorry about that noise. It's calming, folks. We'll turn it down.
It's Jesus.
Oh, boy, we just gonna turn that down.
Sure.
Turn that off. Yeah. But anyhow, it's all good. I, am always thinking about how you can learn from anybody. So a lot of times you say, oh, an adult, the elders, you used to come and you say, I want to set up under persons like myself or whoever because of her age and her experience, that kind of thing. But one of the things that I learned is that I learn from people no matter what the age is. You used to sit there and when you lose that passion, that's when you stop learning.
That's the problem. Yeah.
And so you walked into, and we're going to talk a little bit here about when you came to our Celebrating Families, I think it was.
Yes.
And we were down in Stilton, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I first discovered this guy. I was like, who is this guy? I remember I was sitting up all night long thinking about my diet because you hit me in the head. I was like, man, this guy, he's telling the truth, And then we, talked about some other things. But no, man, but you bring a lot to the table. And one of the things I like to see is that older folks never stop learning, even when it comes from a younger person. And young people don't think that they know it all. So so we all learn together when it's like that, So it's just my way of thinking, just keep it up, man. Keep it up what you're doing. So I know you have, do some other things. I want you to get into trouble now. You still got to make that run to pick up. Are you okay?
Yeah.
As far as time, you okay? As far as time? Okay, real good then. All right, Brother Keontae, let's talk about the Strong African American Families Program.
Okay.
And let me just say this real quick. Life Esteem itself, my wife, Pat Gadsden, who created Life Esteem Incorporated, has some significant contracts with Dauphin County Drug and Alcohol. And those contracts allow her to do these family programs that are what we call evidence-based and national programs. So the latest that she brought into the Harrisburg area through Dauphin County Drug and Alcohol is Strong African American Families Program. And these are free programs for families that have children between the ages of 10 and 14. And so, we start off with a full meal. We have free daycare. We have, free transportation. And we have 4 different sites. It's offered on Tuesday nights at 2 sites, Living Springs Church out at 3600 Bartown Way, Pembroke Church in Christ at 56 Bank Street in Harrisburg, and then Riverside Methodist Church on Wednesday evenings which is located at 3200 North 3rd Street in Harrisburg, and then Stilton Mennonite Church, 501 North 3rd Street on Thursday nights. Brother Keontae and his wife and a few other people came out. We had a great time, I thought, last night as we were at Living Springs Church. Talk about the experience. What did you think of it in that kind of?
Well, I think that it's an excellent program.
Okay.
And I also think that more people need to be there, because a lot of these problems stem in the community from a dysfunctional household.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and a lot of that comes from not knowing how to communicate, you know, whether it's parents. That's why when we attended your other class, you know, we learned a lot of things that would help us become better parents.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
Sure.
and I think that that's necessary.
Sure. Excuse me 1 second. Go ahead and talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that that's necessary to learn how to become better parents. You know, just like and everything else that we do. I mean, you know, if you're playing basketball or sports, you practice. You know, and that's what I think we need to do in relationships and as far as parenting and marriages and all of these things. We need to sit and we need to learn things about this. You know, and it's helping to be better parents. And then, you know, it's basically a domino effect. Because when the household is lacking, then the kids are suffering from it. And then it goes to the school system, it goes to the environment, it goes everywhere, you know? So I feel that that's necessary for all of our people to start attending these events so we can communicate with other successful families and couples and just learn different things to do. You know?
Sure. Truly, wisdom is crying out in the street. How important would you believe, since you're talking about wisdom and the importance of learning from one another, that wisdom is crying out in the street? As a young man, what would you say to other young men that are just wasting their time versus investing their time?
I would say that wasting time is the worst thing you could ever do in your life.
Sure.
You know, just like your money, a lot of people pay attention to their money and they say you spend money. You spend time, you need to spend it correctly.
Sure.
Because the compound effect of wasting time is
son.
going to lead you to failure.
Oh my.
You know, and that's just simple as that. And I will also say this, and this is very, very important that individuals understand this. You got three major aspects of yourself. That's mind, body, and spirit.
Yes, sir.
Whichever one you feed more is going to be the strongest.
Sure.
So if you constantly feed your flesh,
it's going to dominate
flesh,
you.
exactly.
Sure.
And you're going to be succumbing to the desires of the flesh. So what I try to make, you know, a habit for myself is feed your spirit and your mind every time you feed your flesh.
That's good.
And even feed your spirit and your mind more so. Exactly. But, you know, at least make sure you're doing that so it's a balance.
Sure. That's good. I once heard someone say time spent is worse than money spent, because if you spend all your money and you have more time, you can make more money. But if you spend all your time, you can't get no more money. So we definitely have to be very cautious what we allow to what we invest our time in. So what else is on the horizon for your ministry or your wife's ministry this year, or even in the years to come?
Well, actually, I'm all about growth and development. Okay. And I communicated with individuals in Florida that's willing to do my program with Florida.
Sure.
I got someone in Texas, New York City, Poughkeepsie, and of course Buffalo and Harrisburg.
Yes, sir.
And also, I'm going to be a part of Breaking the Chains.
Okay, with Kevin Dolphin. Sure.
Yeah, that's one. That's a
good brother. I'm sure BLG as well.
Yeah, good, powerful brother.
Sure.
You know? And he's all for the people, all about assisting the people and different things of that nature. So I'm going to be part of Breaking the Chains, you know, and be a part of what they're doing.
Sure.
He's definitely showing me the way, teaching me a lot of positive things. So
that's good. You know. That's good. It's awesome that you've stepped up to the plate to be a leader. I know a lot of people say I'm not a leader, but the truth is we're all leaders in some aspects. Someone is watching us, watching our lives more than they watch our words. They watch our lives today. So it's awesome to see a young man that is grounded. Who would you, other than God or Christ or the Holy Ghost, who would you attribute your being a well-rounded young man and your drive to be an educator to, sir?
Well, the truth be told, I can't say my aunt that raised me, my aunt that raised me, and my grandmother, you know, they showed me love. You know what I'm saying? And because of the love that they showed me, I was able to show a lot of other people love.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, so I would definitely say that.
But what other characteristics beside their love did you really admire about them? Did you cultivate?
Well, I think love was everything, though.
Sure, that's
you know, because it was teaching you respect.
Yes.
You know, it was teaching you how to care for others. It was teaching you how to be humble.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? How to be respectful. So different. You know, I think everything is summed up with.
Well, that's the greatest commandment. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself, and everything else will go well with you.
Exactly.
So that's powerful. I think one ingredient our world is missing now, which is very characteristic of the last times. The Bible says, because sin abounds, iniquity abounds, the love of many waxes cold, and we live in a very cold and callous generation. What would you say to the generation that is cold and callous in this season, that they're losing the brotherly love that we should have, should be characteristics of us as children of God?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of things that I would say, but instead of saying, I would rather do.
Sure.
And that's why I say that we all need to come together and
Yes.
gather the leaders so we can start doing what needs to be done to start helping those we can't help and pray for the ones that we can.
Sure.
So that's where my mind is at reference to that.
Now one thing about the church, praise God, that you attend with Pastor Yule and his lovely wife, the
Yes.
ministry there. One thing about the ministry that you really enjoy and appreciate very much.
Well, it's love. You know, I'm just recently came to this church.
Okay.
Okay, because I'm a Christ follower, but I'm not
Sure.
religious.
So, you better not be.
You
Sure,
understand?
religion will get you to heaven. Sure,
Exactly.
following Christ.
So you understand. So when I went there, I felt the love. You know,
Yes,
everybody get
it
up
was
and
real,
love one
genuine.
another.
Sure.
You know, the pastor doesn't pretend to be perfect.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? So I love people that are humble and have a spirit where they want to learn.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I'm saying? Even though they're intelligent and they're in a position and they honor their position. You know, and that's what I can say in the church. And I felt the love
Yes, sir.
with all of the men that's there.
Sure.
They're sincere. There's
Genuine.
no
Sure,
faking. There's
sure,
no fronting.
sure.
It's just following God. And like, even when I spoke to him about coming to meet Mr. Nate,
Yes, sir.
you know, a lot of individuals, pastors, wouldn't be too, you know, out of the
like we
bubble.
own, sure, like sure,
Exactly.
we're
You know
not
what I'm saying? But it
stewards
was
for our
like,
own
okay,
desire.
brother,
Sure.
you know, if you want me to do this, then evidently it must be a reason, because
Yes,
I
sir.
know, you know, I see how you're moving and you're moving according to God. So, and he's there, and now we're able to be able to come together
Yes,
to
sir.
come up with some solutions on how we can do what God wants us to do. So
Sure.
that's what I respect the most about that church.
That's awesome. And besides their Sunday gatherings, they do something during the week as
Oh
well
yes,
for the men.
yes,
and
yes.
like
The Men's
that.
Anonymous,
Okay.
which is more than necessary
Yes, sir.
for our people. Because I mean,
Yes, sir.
whether people want to accept it or not, the black man is losing
Sure. Seemingly, sure.
by far. You know, and we
sure.
need to come together
Yes,
so we
sir.
can start building each other up instead of tearing each other down.
That's good. That's good. That's very, 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 very key. I think one thing that was key in the book of Acts was they had all things in common. They were all on one accord. They just didn't have a form of godliness, but they really desired to be pure in their heart. I think that's what we judge each other by looking at the outward. When God, he opens up our chest plate and he's looking at what's inside of our heart. So we are what we eat. And I appreciate the conversation that you and Dr. Nate started off talking about the importance of keeping your temple, because now we're the temple of God, keeping this temple pure. Now, for the other young men that are struggling, because I know it's a big struggle with young men as far as pornography, and a lot of that stems from the culture, the music, the images, the TV. How important is it to monitor what we allow into our ear gate or eye gate, as well as the mouth gate as well?
Very important. I mean, recently, not really recently, I read The Laws of Attraction.
Yes, sir.
Which are very, very powerful to show you. And I suggest that all of y'all, when y'all get an opportunity, research or Google The Laws of Attraction. And listen to it, because it's just the power of your mind. As soon as you change your thoughts, your actions is a reflection of your thoughts, you change your life.
Sure.
You know, that's one thing. But another thing, because recently I've been sitting in the house and just meditating and listening to the word.
Yes, sir.
What I've recently understood was that you have the conscious mind and then you have the subconscious mind.
Yes, sir.
And the subconscious mind is the mind behind the conscious mind.
That's good, sir.
Sure. But in the Bible, when
sir.
Jesus speaks about the heart, the
sir.
subconscious mind is the heart.
Yes, sir. So,
you see, but see, with these words, they play with these words and have you thinking that they're talking about this organ in your chest.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Oh,
which,
no, sir.
Which I'm saying not for us that research, but what about the kids that haven't researched, that have no understanding?
Yes, sir.
You understand? They thinking, oh, this is the heart right here.
And it's not that one on Valentine's Day.
Exactly. The heart is your subconscious mind. And you know, the conscious mind can forget things. Okay. But what happens is with repetition is dangerous. Because if you keep listening to this music, you keep watching this pornography, you keep doing this, the conscious mind deposits in the subconscious mind. And now it's locked in there and you're under a program. And that's why in the word it says it's necessary to meditate on the word day and night. Because we're under the program of these principalities and powers. But when you meditate on the word, that program will be in your conscious mind and then be deposited into your subconscious mind, which will basically override the program that you're under.
Oh my, that's good. That's really good. And I think that's Psalms 1, where it talks about blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in that law does he meditate day and night. And then the scripture continues and said, he shall be likened unto a tree that is planted by the rivers of living water. He bears fruit in his season, his leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever we go on all day with this. Whatever he sets his hand to do, it will prosper. So we are what we eat, and we're bombarded, and it's on purpose, and it's intentional by the system to keep us in prison in our mind, to keep us in prison, hating one another, thinking that our biggest adversary is the white man.
No, not at all.
What would you say to address that for someone that would say the man is still holding me down?
I would say the war is spiritual.
Sure.
Okay, it's a spiritual war. We war against principalities and powers, not just against the flesh.
Sure. Yes.
You know,
yes,
that's what I would say.
Sure.
And I would say that you have to start researching.
Oh my.
That's what you have to do, because you are enslaved mentally and you have no understanding. One of the greatest sayings I ever heard was from Harriet Tubman, who said, "I freed 500 slaves, and I would have freed 500 more if they knew they were slaves."
Oh my.
Our people, it's like people don't understand that they're enslaved mentally, and you have to break those chains yourself. And the way you do that is go disaccording to the way that you've been programmed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and man, that's serious, man.
Oh my. Yeah, we are now in prisons without bars. We're in prisons without slave masters. The prisons now are trying to keep up with the Joneses, having $200 sneakers on when your refrigerator's empty, and when your lights are getting ready to cut off, but you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We live in a culture that is so consumer based, where they just try to get us the new iPhone, the new Android, the new this, the new that. Do we really need all these bells and whistles that we have that they're throwing at us at these times?
Not at all. We don't need none of that stuff.
Sure.
You know, and like with my kids, I am strict on them. You know, I'm always talking business. And my son asked me the other day, he said, "Dad, why is you always talking business?" I said, "Listen, why wouldn't I talk business?" I said, "People go to school for all of these years, graduate college, owe numerous loans for a career so they can make money at working at a job that they don't even like for their whole life." I said, now right now, you can save your money. I mean, I'm for education, but it's different levels of education. Individuals have to understand that as well. You got the education that's given to you, and then you got your own education where you do your own independent research, you gather your own facts and support your perception of things. And what I'm telling them is, yeah, you're going to go to school and you're going to get good grades, but again, still, you're also going to learn the things that I'm teaching you, because I'm going to bring you to God and I'm going to show you the way. I'm going to show you how you can be successful without having to work for individuals for the rest of your life. You know, where you can actually provide jobs for other people to work for you. You know, because it's easy. It's easy to do it. It's just about learning.
Oh my. It's not just about trying to get a job and be miserable your whole life. I remember the last secular job, and I'm gonna have to send them an invoice for saying this, was the Olive Garden. It was a commercial kitchen. I used to do that before I ventured off and to follow my dream and start broadcasting. And against all odds, even my family said this would never work. And now 5 years later down the line, and 119 nations we've reached with the gospel of Jesus Christ, with our locally produced content, that I feel so much more fulfilled. I was miserable chained to that time clock. I was chained to the time clock. I couldn't have the weekends off. I couldn't have the holidays off. It was mandatory weekends, mandatory holidays. I didn't get home to 1 o'clock in the morning after we cleaned up the kitchen. It's always food and shrimp under your nails. You smell, you know, like a chicken breast and all this other stuff smeared all over you. And I was absolutely miserable. What would you say to the person that is chained to the time clock? They know they're miserable, but they don't know how to get out.
Well, I need to say you have to start educating yourself.
Sure.
I mean, that's what it all sums up to, education. I mean, just think of it. When individuals go to school for all of these years, what do? They go to school to learn information out of a book.
Yes, sir.
You can have the same knowledge by getting into those books and learning. Oh, you want to perfect real estate? Well, you know what? Every day go get a real estate book. Get a real estate book and keep learning real estate. You want to learn business? Get these business books right now. Stop wasting time with video games, doing frivolous stuff. Just get the books. Start getting the books. And it's even easier now because you can just go on your phone and look up, you know, videos on real estate and take notes and different things of that nature.
Oh my, that's actually how we built both of our studios. We started out with the studio next door, then we branched off. I mean, I worked in media about 6 years, but I never built a radio station from the ground up. And when I remember I was miserable at the commercial kitchen where I just mentioned, and I was sitting there and I said, God, I'm miserable. The straw that broke the camel's back with me. I worked there a year and we had a yearly increase. And I remember kissing my wife leaving out the door. And I said, honey, pray for me. Today's my annual review. And as I waited all day to go in the office with the boss, to find out what my review would be. They called me in finally a little bit after lunch, and they pointed to they had like a star system. It was like 5 stars, and 5 was the best. And they had like a list with like 10 different things. And depending on how many stars you had in each category would determine how much of a raise. So out of all the 10 categories, I had 4 out of 5 stars, if not 5 stars. And at the end, they pointed to my increase. And guess how much my increase was at the bottom of the page? 0.05. A buffalo head nickel. I was insulted as a man, sir. Because now I had to go back to my wife and told her I got my increase, but it was a buffalo head nickel. At that point, I made up in my mind. I said, sir, let me do me a favor. I said, keep that nickel, and I'm going to put in my 2-week resignation. And they were astounded why, I would want to quit when they were giving me a raise. I said, you insulted me. I mean, I'm going to finish out my 2 weeks, and I'm going to finish out. I didn't even know where I was going. I remember leaving that office miserable. I didn't even want to tell my wife what they offered me, because she would have probably went there and probably wouldn't have been as nice as I was. I said to God that day on my lunch break, I said, God, I cannot waste the rest of my life here. And God said to me, I heard the Spirit of the Lord say to me, what's in your hand? And all I had in my hand was a bunch of CDs, because that was when CDs were popular at radio stations. I had hundreds of CDs because a bunch of record labels would always send them so you could review them and then get their artists on your broadcast. And I had a bunch of radio contacts, like all the people that I met when I worked at the other radio station. God said, begin a radio station. I'm like, well, God, all I have is CDs and a bunch of phone numbers. How am I going to start? I don't know how to build. I don't know how to network equipment together. I don't even have a building. I don't have anything. But at that day, I made up my mind, and I started to tell people about my vision. Some laughed, some mocked, some thought it was funny. Most said it would never work. But there were a few strategic people that God led me to, that I told about my vision, and people started to come, brother. I kid you not. One person gave us resources to purchase a 501c3. Gave us the money for the lawyer to write up the paperwork. Someone else came in with a mixing board. Hey, I got this. Other people came in. Hey, I got an amp. Another person came in. Hey, I got some cameras you could use. You can upgrade them. And people just started to come. Like probably over 60–70% of everything you see in these studios, people gave me once I made up my mind. I'm tired of doing the 9 to 5 and people paying me what they think I'm worth versus what I'm really worth.
Exactly. I understand it.
So would you encourage someone against all odds to pursue their dreams and their passions, whatever that dream and passion may be?
But of course, I'll always say that. Sure. And I'll say that even if you work for a person, you work for a person with a plan.
Sure. It's a step up.
Plans on how you're gonna be able, because this is one thing I want to say. It's funny because I had this conversation with my wife recently.
Sure.
We was talking about passion.
Yes, sir.
And I said, a true business-minded individual understands that, okay, well, I might love doing this, but I need to understand supply and demand.
Yes.
Because once I have an income and I got that financial stability and security, now I can focus on my passion.
Yes.
You understand? But business and passion is 2 different things. So I'll say, be about your business first. Make sure your money is coming right, and then go do it. But even if you're working a job you don't like, just know that it's a season and it's temporary. And just do it for that moment to take care of what you need to take care of at that moment. And then focus on what you love doing.
In your free time.
Because I have another saying. I have a saying that says, every 60 seconds of sadness is a minute of happiness forever wasted out your life. And every second, every minute, every day that goes by is a second, minute, and a day closer to a physical death for every single one of us.
Yes.
So why ever be sad? Why ever be angry? Why ever be frustrated? Just live life and love it for what it is. The good times, the bad times, the headaches, the heartaches, the heartbreaks. All of this stuff is just a part of life. You're going to go through that. And you're going to go through some more. You're going to overcome that, and then you're going to go through some more. And we got to be so strong that we look forward to overcoming obstacles.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of people don't understand this. For the individuals, a lot of people are afraid of failing.
Yes, sir.
And what they don't understand is that the individuals who are truly successful actually
they were afraid
fail more.
Sure, they were afraid too. But they had love after to stop.
Exactly, but I'm saying they actually fail more. But see, even when you fail, you gain knowledge and wisdom of what not to do the next time around. So do you really fail?
Sure.
That's the question.
It was a learning. It's a classroom.
You gain something, and then you try again, and then if it don't work, you gain it again. Eventually, you're gonna succeed. And that's it. And I just say you got to be so focused on what you need to be focused on,
Yes.
That you don't have the time to focus on things you're not supposed to be focused on.
Oh my. Oh my.
Anything that doesn't coincide with God,
Sure.
anything that doesn't coincide with success, however you perceive it, because it's different in different people's minds,
Sure.
then get rid of it. Any toxic people, get rid of them.
Oh my, that's
You know what I'm saying? Just let it go and focus on what you need to focus on.
Oh, that's good. I once heard someone used to explain the 100-year rule, and that 100-year rule is if it's not going to matter 100 years from now, don't do it. So we got to really evaluate everything in our life. I heard someone else say things in our lives are either a wing or a weight. They're either going to lift us closer to where we need to be, or they're going to drag us further away. So we really need to evaluate everything that we allow into our lives and see if they're wings that take us closer to our purpose or weights that are holding us back from our purpose.
All right. Brother Chris, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, bro. That's what we do.
My
We are,
goodness. Man, I appreciate it. Folks probably said, what in the world?
all's well, brother. All's well.
Great job, though, man. As always, Brother Chris Thomas, who is actually the founder and owner of, the voice17104.com. I want to thank him for sitting in real quick. We had things happen. Sometimes, I figured something was going on. The phone kept ringing. Okay. And then now it's all good. Well, I know we pretty much ran out of time, right?
Sure, you got 5 minutes. You want to do
about 5 more minutes?
Information?
Okay,
sure.
yeah. How about that? People that want to contact you, Brother Cam, how can they get in touch?
Well, actually, I'm on the verge of having a website put up, so that's not done yet.
Okay.
I'll give you a personal number for anyone that want to contact me. I'm actually pushing my organization out here, Missing Links. I want to get a lot of the young men together. Like I said, my wife has the Young Women Empowerment Academy. So I want to start getting the young men together so we can start teaching these boys how to be men. So you can contact me at 716-482-2008. That's 716-482-2008. Or you can, my Facebook contact information is KEYONTAY, last name Ricks, RICKS. So you can contact us.
Fantastic. Well, again, we had a strong African American family programs. For more information on those, they're all free. Area code 717-608-2302. Talk to Patricia Gadsden and she can get you connected. We have 4 programs, 2 on Tuesday night, 1 on Wednesday night, and then 1 on Thursday. And they're free. They're for the entire family, especially families that have a 10-year-old to 14-year-old. And we start off with a great meal, and then we have free transportation and free daycare. And so, get into it. I mean, bring your family out. You learn and you have fun. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was fun and it's needed. It's needed in our community.
Absolutely. Thank you. And so, again, call my wife, Patricia Gadsden, 717-608-2302. I know we're going to run out of time. There's so many good things going on, good stuff happening. Be a part of it, okay? Because we need more willing workers to get out there and do the work. Everybody's afraid of our youth these days. What's going on? You're afraid they don't want to talk to them. They're just looking for love. That's all. They're just looking for some love. And behind all that exterior, right? There's a heart of gold.
Yes.
But they just don't know. They said nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Sure.
And so a lot of times people are, presenting that hard exterior, but there really is to cry for help.
Oh my.
Okay. So what can we do? Now, Lisa's program for her is Young Women's Empowerment Academy.
Young Women
is on Thursday nights.
Yes, Thursday nights at the Workplace Hub.
Okay, and that's here in Harrisburg. It's the old Hamilton Health Building, up off of 5th Street, I believe, off of Kelker and 5th. Yeah, right around that area, something like that, yeah. And they do great work in the evenings, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes, the evening program. And the young ladies, I think, 13 to 18 or a little bit.
Yeah, I think 13.
Something like that.
Somewhere around that 12 to 18.
12 to 18, okay. And they're doing great stuff. They've traveled. They've done a lot of things.
They do big things.
And there's a brother by the name of Pastor Lamont. He has what's called Men's Anonymous.
Yes, Men's Anonymous.
Men's Anonymous. And so this again, men trying to get men together. And they say, see a man, be a man. So we're trying to be men that can be seen in the community as a positive force. That our young boys will have somebody to look up to. Young kids will have someone to look up to that looks like us. black men, you know. And whatever you do, also go to church. My goodness, I mean, you know, the church is still the hub, baby. It's still what's happening, you know. We have more programs than everybody else. Talking about, oh, the church does more than half these programs put together in one day. I'm sorry, they really do. They have all kinds of stuff. I looked at that massive building that they have in Living Springs over the 3600 Bartown Way. Those people have family programs. We just came and bringing a family program. They already have family programs there. And they do all kinds of stuff over there. So, you know, Greater Zion, look at what they're doing. They have a wonderful program coming up through Dauphin County Drug and Alcohol, or Dauphin County Systems of Care, the Systems of Care with Helen Spence, a job fair. And it's going to take place at the end of this month. And usually they get 2,000 people out there. The one year they had 3,000. And they had the Harrisburg High Marching Band. They have, we always have a table there. So it's always a table full of all of the 501c3s and all that. But then you go into the other room, and that's where the jobs are. And people get jobs on the spot, you know. It's massive. But I mean, people say, oh, if you don't go, you just don't know. So you got to get out there and get involved. And of course, there are many other things coming up. The other thing I will tell you, and I don't go, my wife goes, and I did attend the last one. I'm going to try to attend more. Once a month, they have a forum through Dauphin County Systems of Care, where any agency can come out and you just share information. And it's powerful. They all come out like this, you know, we've had this there, and we talk about the strong African-American families. They usually have a presentation by somebody that's doing something positive, and the room is packed. They have, you know, food or, you know, a little something. But the information from 10 to 12 is phenomenal. And they do this every month. So people who don't know, they don't know. But if you know, then you're in the mix and you can help other people. And so what they do is they all come together and they try to support each other's programs. And that's been going on for years, you know. So again, it's called the, what is it called? I forget what it's called, but it's a networking forum, you know, a networking forum. And Helen Spence is the person who runs that. And again, it's through Systems of Care, okay? Brother, I'm gonna let you get the last word in. Anything you want to leave, words of wisdom with the folk?
Well, I just want to say what I said before. It's necessary. Live life and love it for what it is. The good times, the bad times, the headaches, the heartaches, is all just a part of life. And even if you don't know what you do want out of life, then you should know what you don't want out of life. You know, what you've been doing have not been working, then try something new.
That's right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how you used to say, if you always do what you've always done, then you always get what you've always done. Something like that. Yeah, it's the same old, same old. Man, oh man. Brother Keontae Ricks, man, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for allowing me.
Thank you, Brother Chris, for stepping in at my time of need.
It's what we enjoy, brother.
Yes, indeed. And I hope that you'll continue to watch this program Wednesday evenings. It's called New Beginnings. We put it up on Facebook and other social medias. Don't be afraid to share it. We hope that you will share it. Put it out there so that the information will go far and that someone will be blessed by it. God bless you, and hope to see you next time here on the Voice 17104.com. Goodbye. Good stuff.
The Voice 17104.com has gone